Hi, my artistic name is Devorah Livadna. I am an illustrator. I studied a master's in children's book illustration, finishing a few years ago, and so my work takes the form of drawings, paintings. I use mixed media, and I also screen print. Yeah, I was studying in the UK, and I was living in London for a while, and I felt like it was time for me to get some new inspiration, some fresh ideas, so I decided to come to Berlin. I came it was 5 years ago now, in November, end of November. Some years ago I started off predominantly painting and drawing like ideas for children's books, also for magazines, for book covers, slightly more commercial, but always analog. Creating it with my hands, because that tactile feeling, that process is very important in my work. So that's why I navigated very strongly towards screen printing. Now that everything is very digital, it's important for me to kind of keep that balance and to bring in something that's still handmade and geared towards a craft and a tradition. Because I feel like there's a lot of valuable lessons that we can learn from that, rather than sticking to computer-based processes. I want to create a dummy for a children's book, so I generally come up with my ideas through like walking, experience, just living my life, and then seeing different interactions between people that maybe I want to capture, or I'm very fueled by human rights as well. So at the moment I'm focusing much more on self-publications and pushing them a lot more. At the moment I'm working on some projects, however it is really time consuming for the whole book, so I'm working on individual pieces at the moment. Yeah, I write the stories as well, or I also have made books that are like silent books, so you just read the images and that should be enough to tell you the story, and you can interpret it in your own way, which is really beautiful. What I love about what I do is the collaborative process between myself, other writers, filmmakers, whoever who have an idea that they would like to collaborate on. I've worked with ceramists as well in drawing my illustrations on their pottery. And yeah, just the kind of mix and the ideas and the rich cultural backgrounds that other people come from can really enrich your work as well. It's possible to book me for an illustration for a magazine, for an article cover, for book covers, basically like a lot of, I guess what that would be called is more commercial illustration, with a brief, for sure, and also to work with a writer on creating a book. So something a little bit more individual and something like a little bit more like a lengthy in the sense of a book. I found STATTLAB through a different studio I was in. I was there for only a few months, and I was looking for somewhere where I could do screen printing, something that I wanted to go back to because I was only painting and drawing before then. And yeah, someone told me about this space. I came to visit the same week, and I got shown around, and just the buzz of the place was really kind of captured my spirit, and I felt like I had a lot in common with people that were here, in that sense of just wanting to create. It's just realizing what a special place this is, to be able to have access whenever you want and to not be limited kind of in your process as well. I've been here now for about 4 years. I explored screen printing much more through sharing information, knowledge, skills about screen printing, but also really important things about like being an artist, about just how to approach different galleries or different locations like cafes, and how just to put yourself out there and contact them and try to get their attention and have an exhibition perhaps. Or also here we've had we've created zines together. Someone will initiate a project and we draw something for it and then we print it here. It has like a kind of a quick pace in that sense. You have an idea and then you can just actually like make it within like days or weeks. So I actually lived on Tegelerstraße and like in Soldiner. I lived in different places in the neighborhood as well as different places in Berlin, different kiez. So I got a very good taste, I would say, of what like Berlin has to offer. And I'd say that each kiez is very unique. They're like little bubbles of, it feels like a different part of a different city almost. And for me, there are these little spaces that you kind of have to discover. Like a lot of people say, oh, wedding, like in general, even, you know, it's got nothing very much to offer. And it's a bit maybe boring or as compared to other parts, but you just have to explore it and give it the time. And there's loads of artists, and even recently during the photography month, I started talking to someone just around the corner in this gallery, and she told me about all of these photography art spaces and studios that are here that I never even knew, that are right on the doorstep. And I think it would be wonderful to kind of bring us more in together to like know who's around. But there's a lot. It's a very rich area in terms of culture, and I think it's very important to preserve it as well. Just maybe it's less known, but I think it's important to push it and give it more voice.